Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Durlabhamanasho Deho Dehinam Shana Bhangure Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikuntha Priya Darshina Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Vasudeva Katha Prashna Purusham Strin Punatihi Vaktaram Prichakam Shrotram Statpada Salilam Yatha Nivritta Tarshay Upagiyamana Bhavo Shadat Shotra Mano Birama Kauttama Shloka Gunanuvadat Pumams Virajit Vina Pashubhnat Hare Kṛṣṇa Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Maharaj Bhagavatam Puran ki jai. Samaveta Gaura Bhaktam ki jai. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for your wonderful association. We are reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter number 1, text number 58. This is a memory verse again. So we are reading, just to give a kind of a background, we read about Kirtiman. Anyone remembers who is Kirtiman? Anyone remembers about Kirtiman? The first child of Devaki and Vasudev was whose son, whose name was Kirtiman. And Vasudev, keeping his promise that any child born, I'll give it to you, O Kamsa, don't kill my wife. To this proposition, Kamsa agreed, and as soon as the Kirtiman was born, Vasudev delivered in the hands of Kamsa. And then we were talking about some samskaras and the Namkaran sanskara also. So with that, let's move on to the next verse, text number 58. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Kim duhsaham no sadhunam vidusham kim apekshitam kim akaryam kadaryanam dushyajam kim dhritatmanam kim duhsaham no sadhunam vidusham kim apekshitam kim karyam kadyarnam dustyajam kim dhritatmanam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? How could there not be independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord as the substance? What deeds are forbidden for persons of the lowest character? And what cannot be given up for the sake of the Lord Kṛṣṇa, by those who have fully surrendered at His lotus feet? Hare Kṛṣṇa. Purport. Since the eighth son of Devaki was to kill Kamsa, one might ask what the need was for Vasudev to deliver the firstborn child. The answer is that Vasudev had promised Kamsa that he would deliver all children born of Devaki. Kamsa, being an asura, did not believe that the eighth child would kill him. He took it for granted that he might be killed by any of the children of Devaki. Vasudev, therefore, to save Devaki, promised to give Kamsa every child, whether male or female. From another point of view, Vasudev and Devaki were very pleased when they understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, would come as their eighth son. Vasudev, a pure devotee of the Lord, was eager to see Krishna appear as his child from the eighth pregnancy of Devaki. Therefore, he wanted to deliver all the children quickly so that the eighth turn would come and Krishna would appear. He begot one child every year so that Krishna's turn to appear would come as soon as possible. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you so much, dear Vaishnavas, for joining. So again, a very, very nice verse. What cannot be given up for the sake of the Lord? So that's a very interesting point. That those who have taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, they can do anything. Anything means sanctioned by the Lord. It may be giving up something which is very, very difficult to give up. Like in this connection, giving up the child, one's own child, is very difficult, right? Who wants to lose their child? No one. But Vasudev, for the higher purpose, for the Lord to appear, was willing to go through that only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So such a big lesson. And then we can also take some minor lessons from there. I mean, some lessons which may be very minor giving up, like giving up sleep. Right? In the cold weather, Prabhu and senior devotees mentioned that, especially in winter, who wants to give up the warmth of the blanket? And in US it may not be so much relevant because everyone, everywhere, everything is air conditioned. But in India, it's I think most people are well aware. It's not like that. The homes are not centrally air conditioned or heated at least. So everyone wants to, anyone, whether heating or not, the point is everyone wants, sleep is very dear, right? Sleep is very dear. And for some people, eating is very dear. Lot of eating, lot of sleeping. For some people, lot of money. For some people, lot of fame. For some people, lot of material desires, etc. They are very hard to give up. But if that is not helping us to make progress in bhakti, then hard things become easy when we take shelter of Lord. Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet viprite vismrita vipritam syad Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. By remembering Lord Chaitanya, difficult things become very easy. And totally opposite happens when we do vismaran. Vismaran means forgetfulness. So forgetfulness of the Lord leads to easy things becoming difficult. So we can take this lesson that Vasudev did such a big sacrifice. So we can also sacrifice the lower things or for the pleasure of the Lord. Things it may be dear to us or not, but if they're not helping us, they're not connected to Krishna, we must give them up and not keep those. Any other thoughts anyone has? Any other in this connection?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji. So there is 4 questions in the translation. So first one is more or less clear. And how could there not be independence? That means devotees take everything as a Lord's will. That is the meaning of the second question. And what deeds are forbidden for persons of the lowest character? What does it mean?
Yeah, I've not heard any lecture in this regard, which maybe I can have here, or we can also hear, but if I have to, from what I have heard in other contexts, for a person, for the lower character, we cannot expect that person to be doing great things. So what deeds are forbidden? These are all like sarcastic things, right? So the meaning is opposite. Like what is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? If I have to paraphrase that, nothing is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth, right? So in the last question, what cannot be given up, right? For the sake of the Lord. So basically, everything can be given up for the sake of the Lord Krishna, by those who are fully absorbed. So what deeds are forbidden? Now, if you paraphrase that, what cannot be given up? So everything can be given up. What deeds are forbidden? So that means they cannot do. In short, everything is forbidden, isn't it? Right? Right? Does that make sense? Everything is forbidden. What deeds are forbidden? And then to add everything is forbidden for the persons of lower character. That's my understanding. And all the questions are in the same context. That means, and character here doesn't mean any particular tribe, or it is basically by qualities, right? So by qualities. Anyone wants to add to this?
Yeah, I was just thinking, deeds can mean good deeds and bad deeds, right? So persons of lowest character, basically, they'll ignore the good deeds, but all the bad deeds are okay with them. They can just do any bad deeds. So I think this is a kind of, like you said, a sarcastic question. Really, they can do anything they want.
Yeah, that's also a very good insight. Yeah. If a drug addict and very loose character person does something wrong, and then what else can be expected from him, right? So of course they will get the bad karma and the fruits of that, but we cannot expect a very, very low class person to act in a very respectable way. So very nice rule. Okay, but I think the emphasis here is on the last question.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, let's read further. And then that's where Prabhupada is also emphasizing. So let's read text 59. Yes, who hasn't got chance? Maybe in the yesterday, anyone didn't get chance, they can read first. Yes, Raghu Prabhu, want to?
Yes, I can read. Yeah. Thank you. Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees. Text 59. Drishtva samartavam tat charuhe Satye Chaiva Vayas Vittitam Kamchastustamana Rajan Prahasan Idam Abravit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. My dear King Parikshit, when Kamsa saw that Vasudeva, being situated in truthfulness, was completely equipoised in giving him the child, he was very happy. Therefore, with a smiling face, he spoke as follows. Purport. The word samatvam is very significant in this verse. Samatvam refers to one who is always equipoised, unaffected by either happiness or distress. Vasudeva was so steadily equipoised that he did not seem in the least agitated when delivering his firstborn child into the hands of Kamsa to be killed. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 256, it is said, Dukeshu anudvigna manha sukeshu vigataspra. In the material world, one should not be very eager to be happy, nor should one be very much disturbed by material distress. Lord Krishna advised Arjuna, Matras parasastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha daha agam mapayino nityastam stititsasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from the sense perception, ocean of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Bhagavad Gita 2:14. The self-realized soul is never disturbed by so-called distress or happiness. And this is especially true of an exalted devotee like Vasudeva, who showed this by his practical example. Vasudeva was not at all disturbed when delivering his first child to Kamsa to be killed. So this text is emphasizing how Vasudeva is very equipoised and he's facing a very great, dire situation where he has to give up the firstborn to Kamsa, and who will otherwise he would get killed. So this is emphasizing again, he's such a great devotee that he's actually following what is clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita about happiness and distress, and he's not at all agitated. That for a person like me in such a situation, I would be very easily agitated. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhu. So we see here Vasudev's qualities are glorified again and again. And in this verse, the quality of Sama, Pandita Samadarshina. In Bhagavad Gita, there are so many verses which talk about this point of tolerance, equanimity, equipoised, and not being bewildered by ups and downs in life, and heat and cold, and name and fame, and pleasure and pain. So I was doing actually a small kind of exercise to show that in chapter 2 only, like there are so many verses. This Mata's Precious we just discussed. This one, O Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress is steady is eligible for liberation. 2.38, same point. Sukha dukkha samikritva labha, alabha jaya jau. So do the fight for the sake of fighting, don't consider happiness. That means again being equipoised. 2.45, same point there, 48, 56, 57. This is all chapter 2. so many verses in chapter 2 only talking about the same point, that, O Arjuna, be equipoised, be equipoised. In chapter 12, chapter 15, practically all the chapters, if we see directly or indirectly, Krishna is hinting, oh my dear child Arjuna, be equipoised. So Bhagavad Gita talks about the philosophy, the do's and the don'ts, but Bhagavatam, as we have discussed, shares the practical examples, how these great souls like Vasudev are showing the quality of being equipoised. When the time came, when his wife was about to be killed, he was equipoised. That doesn't mean that he was not trying to save, but his mental state frame was not, he was not in a panic mode, because he was thinking very, very intelligently to do the best for his wife, to protect her. Right now also, it is said, even Kamsa, seeing the equipoised state of Vasudev, was, was amazed. So even Kamsa, his heart kind of melted, like, look at the greatness of this person. Giving one's first child, knowing that what will Kamsa do? Kamsa is going to give her like a very nice some treatment to this child, right? Vasudev knew very well Kamsa. He is giving the child to basically for Kamsa to basically kill the child, right? He knows that the child will not live. For a parent, especially for a parent who, it's so difficult, right? Especially when the child is small, it's very difficult. But look at the amazing quality of Vasudev. He kept his word, and yet he's equipoised in that state. So life will throw multiple challenges, often uninvited, but great souls are equipoised, right? They also go through challenges. They also, it's difficult, but they are not bewildered. Their heart also pains, but they keep moving. Okay, let's read the next verse. Yes, Dipantu, want to read? One straight review. Yeah, please.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, everyone, and the pronoun. Text 60. Pratiyatu kumaroyam nahya asmad asti me bhayam astamad yuyaur garbhan mrityur me vihita kila. Translation put by Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Prabhupada there's no purpose, but you can read translation. Okay?
Oh, Vasudeva, you may take back your child and go home. I have no fear of your first child. It is the 8th child of you and Devaki. I am concerned with because that is the child by whom I am destined
to be
killed. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you. My turn.
Thank you.
My turn.
Very nice, thank you. So who is speaking these words? Just read now.
Kamsa.
Yes, Kamsa is speaking. And he's a little bit happy, right? With a smiling face, he's speaking. That, yeah, this child is of no concern to me, because what did the celestial voice say? The 8th child will kill me, and this is the first child. And the celestial voices don't go wrong. They are not like Kali Yuga people. So they are divine voices. So So I don't have any fear, in short, from this child. And you are a great person. You're a man of your words. I'm really impressed by your honesty and integrity of your words. So now you please take your child back. So Kamsa is acting nicely here, right? He's smiling. He's not angry. He's happy with Vasudev. So let's see what happens further. Yes, Prabhu, Anjali.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Tateti sutam adaya jayayu anaka dundhubi na abhi anandata tad vaikyam asata abhijita atmano. Translation by His Divine Grace, S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Vasudev agreed and took his child back home, but because Kangsha had no character and no self-control, Vasudev knew that he could not rely on Kangsha's word. So here we can see Vasudev was, he knew that Kangsha will not be able to keep his word. Here, as Prabhu you were mentioning before, we can see that how much sacrifice Vasudev and Devaki did. See, they were at home at that time, actually. So they had the chance, actually, like they could have said, okay, we are not going to get the babies, or let's flee away from this place, go somewhere else, and where Kangsha would not know. And then, so they had like so many chances, actually. But in spite of that, they stayed in Mathura. And Vasudev did that, all these things, because he also knew that if he flew away, or if he, like he sent Mother Rohini to Vrindavan, Nanda Maharaj. Even Kangsha didn't know. But he could have said that, okay, let's go, because they were at home at that time. So we can see the sacrifice. Actually, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj I was listening one lecture in Janmashtami in Chopati temple. He was saying that the same kind of sacrifice Lord Jesus Christ did that. Jesus could have flew away the night before that, the day before they crucified him. So we can see that like this, like exalted character, how much they do sacrifice. We can see from Vasudev's and Devaki's whole behavior here, because Vasudev knew that if he flees, then Kangsha is going to torture, kill all the Jodu Vamshas, all his father and other people. So just for that purpose, he stayed back, and he stayed back at home, actually. And he, one after year, they got the child, sixth child. Hare Krishna Prabhu, back to you. Please, Edward.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. I was curious to, it's a nice point you mentioned. They were at home, or what time they were sent to Kamsa's jail? I thought that they were in
it was, you can see here is they took his child back home. But I think when Narad Muni came and told Kangsha, no, kill all these people. You don't know who is, they were the demigods. They are very clever. It could be 8 from the middle. And at that point, actually, they were sent to jail. And the other thing is, if you look at that, how Lord is, I mean, he's unborn, Ajo. Because when Kangsha tried so many ways, when we go further, we will see that he actually shackled Devaki and Vasudev. They were not close together. They were separated, actually. But it was that transcendental birth that took place, that 7th and 8th child. So that's what, I mean, Lord is like Sarva Karane Karan. He did that so that people cannot say like, look, there he was born like a human being, and like a male and female, association. Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing this wonderful, another great lesson. Since Kansa is low character, so what is forbidden for a person for low character? Today he's saying this, tomorrow he may completely turn around, right? So therefore Chanakya Pandit says we should not trust person of low character, right? Because they may twist things very fast, right? And Vasudev being very intelligent and a devotee of Lord, knew that very well, that Kamsa's words cannot be trusted because he does not have self-control and no character, or low character in short, same thing. So he can be very nice today, but totally opposite tomorrow. And he showed that initially also. He was very, very nice at the time of the wedding, took the menial servant role as a chariot driver, but the very next moment, what is forbidden for a person of low character? He can even kill his own sister at the time of wedding, right? So we can see that example also. So in short, Kamsa Vasudev was careful. So he agreed, okay, Kamsa, you are saying I'll take my child back home. Thank you. Again, equipoised, right? We see he was equipoised while bringing the child, equipoised while taking the child back. At the same time, being careful that Kamsa can turn the tables very fast. So let's see what happens further. Okay, these two will be the last verses for today. Anyone who didn't get a chance yesterday wants to read? Okay, Vasati Mataji, want to read?
Dhanavat Pranam Prabhuji. Dhanavat Pranam everyone. Text 62 to 63. Nanda dayaye vraje gopa yaschamisham cha oshitaha Vrishnaya Vasudevadya Devaki adya yadustriyaha sarve vai devata praya uvayor api bharata yatayo bandhu surhidda yecha kamsam anubhrataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj and including his associate cowherd men and their wives, were none but denizens of the heavenly planets. O Maharaja Parikshit, based of the descendants of Bharata, and so too were the descendants of the Vrishni dynasty, headed by Vasudev and Devaki, and the other women of the dynasty of Yadu. The friends, relatives, and well-wishers of both Nanda Maharaja and Vasudev, and even those who externally appeared to be followers of Kamsa, were all demigods. Purport. As previously discussed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu informed Lord Brahma that Lord Krishna would personally descend to mitigate the suffering on the earth. The Lord ordered all the denizens of the heavenly planets to take birth in different families of the Yadu and Vrishni dynasties and in Vrindavan. Now, this verse informs us that all the family and friends of the Yadu dynasty, the Vrishni dynasty, Nanda Maharaja, and the Gopas descended from the heavenly planets to see the pastimes of the Lord. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, the Lord's pastimes consist of paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam, saving the devotees and killing the demons. To demonstrate these activities, the Lord called for devotees from different parts of the universe. There are many devotees who are elevated to the higher planetary systems. prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva sasvati samaha shuchinam srimatam gehe yoga vrashto vijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Bhagavad Gita 6.41. Some devotees, having failed to complete the process of devotional service, are promoted to the heavenly planets to which the pious are elevated. And after enjoying there, they may be directly promoted to the place where the Lord's pastimes are going on. When Lord Krishna was to appear, the denizens of the heavenly planets were invited to see the pastimes of the Lord. And thus it is stated here that the members of the Yadu and Vrishni dynasties and the inhabitants of Vrindavana were demigods or almost as good as demigods. Even those who externally helped the activities of Kamsa belonged to the higher planetary systems. The imprisonment and release of Vasudev and the killing of various demons were all manifestations of the pastime of the Lord. And because the devotees would be pleased to see these activities personally, they were all invited to take birth as friends and relatives of these families, as confirmed in the prayers of Kunti, Bhagavatam 1.8.19. Nato natya dharo yatha. The Lord was to play the part of a demon killer and a friend, son, and brother to his devotees, and thus these devotees were all summoned. Very beautiful purport. Prabhupada is explaining here that Sukadeva Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj that when Lord comes, he comes with all his associates and all the denizens of the heavenly planets, demigods, all they actually those born in this two dynasties, Yadu and Vrishni dynasties, and they are all came to see Krishna's Leela, his pastimes, to enjoy. And Krishna is always filled with his devotees, and that's his. He is a supreme enjoyer and Bhoktaram. So that's why Krishna is always surrounded with devotees to do his Leela. And here also mentioned that those devotees from their previous births, many years, according to their karma, they go to different planets, and sometimes with their very good karma, they also able to go to the where the Lord pastimes going on, means Gola Vrindavan. So that's what. Here, Prabhuji, back to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. In short, it is like a transcendental drama arranged by the Lord and his devotees, here the demigods. And we have discussed in the previous lessons, previous classes, previous verses, that those souls, prapya punya kritam lokan, the unsuccessful yogis, after many years of enjoyment on the upper planets, then they are they may take birth in this Bhaumya Vrindavan to prepare themselves for the eternal Vaikuntha Loka, the Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. That point also we discussed. So in short, the whole point is that everyone were all demigods. Kamsa's party were also demigods. They were also, we know, Jai Vijay and all that pastimes, Shishupal, Dantavakra. Even though they were acting envious, they were acting sinfully, but it was the transcendental arrangement of the Lord. So I think quite self-explanatory here. Thank you, Mataji, for reading. Any closing comments or questions anyone has? Okay, so we have another meeting. So devotees who are not in that meeting can drop out, and others can continue. So, Grantraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Purana ki Jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktavinda ki Jai, Panchakalpatarubhyascha Thank you so much. Hare